Recently, I had the opportunity and pleasure of chatting to Derek from Derek Poor Guitar. Derek's a bit of a gear aficionado, so definitely go check out his channel. I'll stick a link in the description.
It's great to be chatting to you. Sort of
Likewise.
I'm not keen on the term YouTuber, but yeah, one YouTuber to another one, with like a common guitar interest.
Absolutely,
and obviously
absolutely.
someone with a British accent.
Yeah, wow. That was one of the things that surprised me most when I found out that you're in Chicago, not in the UK. But yeah, it's nice to be speaking to a fellow UK citizen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've been here about 3 years now, so getting used to the culture and that sort of thing. So
yeah.
But
cool.
how did you get started with the channel? Because you've got a fair few videos up there now, and what prompted you to want to get into YouTube?
Well, I started just by dabbling, really. I was just interested in the video making process, and I wanted another kind of creative outlet. So I just decided, well, I'm not gonna do this by halves. I'm gonna buy some good gear because I'm into that sort of stuff, into making things as good as I can make them. So I went out. Well, I did some research on YouTube naturally. Then I went out and bought myself
what everyone does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the best way to do it, really. I think you get your reviews on YouTube, and then you can make your decision and have it delivered. So that's exactly what I did. I got a Canon 77D. Started playing around with that. Made some very terrible videos, as you can imagine.
Absolutely normal.
Yeah.
Look back in anyone's history.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just sort of was messing around. I wasn't taking it too seriously. And I guess it was probably about 18 months later when I actually decided, I'm going to try and make these videos as good as I can. I'm going to try and up the quality. I'm going to invest in some lights. I'm going to use my condenser microphone to record the audio, so that sounds good. I bought a Boss GT1000 for the guitar tones. And that was that, really. And I've just been making videos since. And I guess I started taking it super seriously around about last September.
Yeah, because I've seen some of your videos on your channel, and if anyone watching wants to check Aaron's channel out, it's Aaron Carrington on YouTube. But the standard of your videos, I think, is fantastic. You've got the different camera angles on there, and also you've got the motion graphics coming up, with the tabs and chords and stuff like that. So I mean, no doubt about the quality of your videos.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's, I don't know if that's actually working against me in some ways, because it takes quite a lot of effort to make those videos. And I think in the beginning, it's probably better not to put as much effort in and just have a bit more of a slow burn. But I think it's being a bit of a perfectionist. And in some ways it's brilliant because you get the quality. And then in other ways, it does kind of work against you a little bit, I suppose.
I know exactly what you mean. I've had the conversation before with several other people that you could have, with a small channel, and we both got, small channels in the great sea of like YouTube guitar videos, guitar video channels. But the more effort you seem to put in, the less it's still not going to really do anything for your views at the moment because of your subscriber numbers or your exposure type of thing, So yeah, I mean, you could be right. Sometimes you just put like a 5-minute video out there of you and a guitar, and it gets more views than something you worked 8 hours on. But that seems to be YouTube, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does seem to be. It's a weird animal. I think really any of the YouTube advice things that you look at, like people like Nick Nimmin or video influence, they always say that YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So what I assume is going to happen is that as I kind of build skills, and let me know if you agree with this, as I kind of build the skills, the more, I guess, data that I collect about what it is people want to see, and the more familiar I get with the whole system, the more I'll be able to predict what kind of videos people will levitate towards and what kind of videos will actually be successful.
Yeah, I absolutely agree because, you can treat YouTube as a creative hobby or a bit of fun. And you should do, shouldn't you? But at the same time, behind the scenes, I guess a lot of people don't realise, or a lot of people that don't have a YouTube channel don't realise that if you really want to make it succeed, then ideally you've got to have a look at the analytics and say, well, what are people watching? What countries are they from? What resonated with them? How long did they watch that video for? And, you know, for anyone that doesn't know about these analytics, it's all sitting in the background, isn't it? You know, and if you really want to sort of dig into it, you could spend hours and hours having a look at this data and trying to figure out, what do I do next and where does the channel go? But at the same time, trying to balance it with, yeah, I want to keep the creativity. I want to do some stuff that I'm interested in, that makes it fun, that I'm passionate about. You know, so there's a balance.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I think ultimately, if you're gonna have any kind of, I mean, success is different to different people. But if you want to grow an audience, it's the audience you want to think about, right? You need to be delivering stuff that they actually want to see.
Yeah.
And so it's learning how to read all the information that you have to first collect yourself when you don't even know what you're doing. And then you read that information, you think, what do people want to watch? But I found something really interesting on a video recently, and it was the 80-20 rule. And it was
so 80% rule, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know it from that perspective, but you can tell me that in just a second. But to my understanding, it's 80% what they want, and then 20% what I want.
Yeah.
And so you get this.
It's almost a rule for life as well. They say, you know, it's true in conversation, true if you want to make friends, and yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that.
Totally understand it.
Yeah,
so tell us a bit about your channel, what you're interested in, and what you do on there, and where you want to go with it. You know.
So it's predominantly at the moment built around guitar lessons, but I've made the recent decision to make it more general guitar.
Yeah.
So the first step in that direction was a video titled "What Makes Matt Bellamy Great on Guitar." He's the guitarist from Muse, and he's a guitarist that I really got into, especially as a teenager. And I felt like the stuff that Muse was playing wasn't ridiculously hard, but it was accessible to me at the time, and it really took me on this trajectory towards being a better player. So I made a video about Matt Bellamy and just pointed out a few of the things that are good about his guitar playing in general, whereas a lot of the lessons I have done have just been tab on the screen, this is how you play the song, and just going through it step by step.
Yeah.
One thing that I've come up with recently, which I'm quite proud of, is a different camera angle. So the vast majority of guitar lessons that I've actually seen have all been from the front, right? So you're looking as you will be looking at me now if I turn to this camera, this kind of angle, right? So I've gone for more of a top-down, as I would see the guitar. And so from now on, I'm going to shoot
on your recent videos. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do more of the lessons that way. I'm gonna do them as if you are the player looking at the guitar from that angle, and I think I'm hoping that people will respond to that. It's
certainly something different, and it's you try and come up with something different in each of your videos, or something to keep the audience engaged as well, don't you? You know, it's almost like you could put a video of you out. You know, just talking to the camera, for example, and some people are fantastic at that. You've got to be that type of personality. I'm talking perhaps about Dave Simpson. I don't know if you've seen Dave Simpson's channel, but it's just basically him with a camera. He doesn't use any fantastic lighting. I don't think he uses a fantastic camera, but he's just that personality. So we can get away with it. But you know, a lot of people are going to need, like, perhaps a couple of cameras, different cameras, camera angles, something that almost makes their channel memorable. I suppose is what we're trying to get to, I suppose, you know? It's something
absolutely.
That makes you unique.
Yeah, something. Yeah, that USP that people often talk about. Why
exactly?
In the sea of YouTube guitar teachers, why do people want to come to my videos specifically? And I hope a part of that will be my personality, and people will go, yeah, this is a guy that I kind of like. But offering them something a little bit unique, and I feel like that camera angle is something on the unique side. The recent few videos have all been shot that way. And as for where the whole thing's going, I couldn't honestly tell you. I try to think too far ahead about where it's all going. I just try and focus on the video in the moment and try and make that as good as it can possibly be.
Yeah, I think we all do. It's I'm not sure anyone on this platform anyway, could say, yeah, I've got a 5-year plan.
Yeah, you just never know, do you?
No, exactly. How long have you been playing guitar? Because I've watched a few of your videos, and you're a lot better guitar player than I am. You obviously got some chops there and some skills. So, what about your guitar
Thanks.
journey? How long have you been playing, and when did you start?
So I started playing 20 years ago now. And there's a little story there. My friend Steve came round and he said, I had a guitar in the attic. I was bought a guitar for Christmas when I was 12. I didn't play it for 2 years, went in the attic and didn't do anything with it. But Steve came around and he said, I've learned some guitar riffs, man. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he says, yeah, get your guitar out of the attic. And I'm like, no, I can't be bothered. I mean, if you know me now, that's not acceptable. That kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said, I can't be bothered. He went, no, and he pushed me. And so got the guitar out of the attic. He showed me a couple of riffs and that was that. I was hooked. And I remember playing something like the entire rest of that day when he'd gone, and then 9 hours the next day and 6 hours the next day. And my mum just couldn't believe, God, you've found your thing, you know?
And that was it.
And so, and that was it. And I was hooked from that moment, and I was learning riffs and learning as much as I could, I suppose. And that's where it all started.
Yeah,
And
it's once it gets inside you, you can't. You just want to learn more about it, don't you? It's almost like a passion. You just can't get enough of it.
It's absolutely a passion. Sometimes I'll be having a bit of a bad day, and I'll be thinking, what's wrong with my day? And it's like, I haven't played guitar yet. That's the problem. And then I go and play guitar, and then everything's better. You know, straight away. You just sit down with the instrument, and you've got that instant connection with it. And so,
when you know, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And so it's that passion that took me to music college and to university, and then now I work professionally as a guitar teacher, and that's what I do.
There you go.
And of course, I gig as well.
Yep.
But not at the moment.
When you can, yeah.
given COVID and that kind of thing. What about you? Did you when did you start on the guitar?
I picked up a guitar when I was about 18. I don't know why I bought a guitar. I'll be honest, because I was always, at that point, I was into 80s synth pop. I loved Depeche Mode and Yazoo and, anything that Vince Clarke was involved in. So I had a big thing for synths, and I bought 2 Korg synths at that point. But I don't know why I bought the guitar, but I did. Anyway, I learned open chords, tried to get into it. I think at that point I learned bar chords as well, or within 6 months I learned bar chords. But then I sort of gave it up, and I lost interest in it, you know. And when I was in my 20s, someone heard me sing on a karaoke somewhere, so they said, "Come and join our band," and that was it. I was a singer in a covers band for 10 years, you know, and got some great memories of that and great friends. So I didn't play guitar then either. And then later on, it was about around about 3 years ago when I moved to Chicago, I bought another guitar, and I thought, I'm going to give this another go, because I was watching some YouTube videos and I thought, yeah, this platform's evolved, you know, it's really quite good for the guitar. And I really sort of pushed myself into learning guitar over the last 3 years. So aside from open chords and bar chords, just 3 years really, that I've been really attacking it, really going for it.
Excellent. Well, you know, if you ever want any advice, you know where I am.
Now you're talking. Because I do.
But one thing I've also
had a guitar teacher, and I keep saying to my wife, one thing I've got to do is get a guitar teacher. I'm not sure on my path.
I mean, I would say this, of course, but lessons definitely do help, and I speak from personal experience there, because I still have lessons from time to time with certain teachers, and it helps me immensely. And of course, I've got the sea of YouTube teachers as well. But I've actually noticed that your channel, you've got a lot of gear on your channel.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I asked you the question earlier, how you got started and what was your journey through YouTube and whatnot. And mine was gear, and I've no idea why. It just happened.
All the gear and no idea.
Yeah, all the gear and no idea. Because one of the first videos I did, I said to my wife, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And then 6 months later, I was at the Amigos guitar show that they have here in Illinois. And I went along with my phone, just filmed a few bits and pieces, stuck a short video together, and then put it up on YouTube. And I'm like, Okay, let's see what happens. And it got like 20 views, and you're right excited. 20 people are watching this. This is fantastic, you know. And then I thought, well, I've got this pedal board. I'll do a quick review on that and putting it together and whatnot. And it just escalated from there. So that's it. It turned into sort of a gear review channel. But I'm trying to get away from that a little bit. Not so much gear, but obviously some other stuff, you know, like interviews and learning bits and pieces, or my thoughts on guitar and collaborations. I want to do more collaborations this year. So, but yeah, predominantly it's a gear channel.
Just while we're on the subject of gear still, have you got a favourite piece of gear that you levitate towards and you can't stop using, or is there a review of a piece of gear that you've done that you just absolutely love?
Yeah, there is. And I love overdrives because whenever I watch, and I can't achieve this overdrive sound, but I'll watch Matthew Scott, Chris Barocci, Rabia Massad. These are all YouTube guys. And they get this certain guitar sound. And I know they've got the gear, you know, they've got, Matthew Scott's got vintage amps, and Chris Barocci works for Thomann, so I suppose he can borrow anything he likes. And Rabia Massad has got all the Victory Krakens, you know, the stereo Krakens and stuff like that. And even Paul Davids is with his matchless DC30, and there's that tone. And I'm trying to get that tone through overdrive pedals, but I just know it's not really possible. So I'm a big overdrive freak, and the piece of gear that I absolutely love, it's a pedal, and it's the Noble's ODR1, and I can't get away from it. Whenever I put a pedal board together, I just get the ODR1, and it just goes on the board, and it always just sounds right. And I don't know what it is about that pedal, but it just sounds right.
Excellent. Just while my fridge has turned itself on, and it makes a right noise, so I'm going to...
Okay.
There we go. Fridge is now off. Audio can commence.
Yeah, the fridge is gone. and that was talking about the YouTube guys. That's you were talking earlier about when you're sitting there thinking, there's something wrong with my day, you know. Because I sit there sometimes, and I'm sure we all do, thinking, I can't really be bothered to play guitar. I'll watch YouTube or whatever. But then I'll switch YouTube on, and I'll hear somebody play a riff, and then I think, I have to play that.
It's contagious.
I have to now go and get my guitar, turn my amp on, and I've got to learn that. Whatever that is, I've got to learn it. And so, you know, YouTube, I think, is just a great motivator for that as well. So what about your gear? What about your like favourite piece of gear, and what guitars have you got? What do you gravitate towards with regard?
Well, in terms of guitars, I've got an Ernie Ball Music Man, which is actually just sat right next to me. This one, it's a fantastic piece of gear. It's just so versatile. I like it because it's got 24 frets. I like things to be even. You know what I said about being a perfectionist? So the fact that it's even just makes me that little bit happier.
I'm a perfectionist, but that's...
It's a whole nother level.
That's another level, yeah.
It doesn't stop me playing a Stratocaster or a Tele, of course. But it's just versatile, and it's got... I like the size of it as well. I'm quite a slim fellow, so I like to have a slim guitar, you know, because it kind of fits in with me. So it's just a really good bit of gear. Just really, really like it.
I'd love to try one. I keep seeing the Music Mans out there, and they're becoming more and more popular, and I definitely want to try one out.
They're brilliant.
I think does Johnny Highland use a Music Man as well? I think
I couldn't tell you.
He's a country guitarist, but he's like a really hot picker alongside Brent Mason, and I don't know if you know these guys. If you're not into country music,
Brad Paisley,
you won't know these guys. But yeah, these are really fast picker guys. You know, I think he uses a Music Man as well. So
excellent.
They're gaining more popularity, certainly.
I do like that country style of playing, especially the likes of Brad Paisley. He's a good dude, and he's fast kind of country picker. And there was a teacher at my uni actually called Lee Hodgson, and he's a very good fast country picker. He's from London, really good guy to check out. Yeah,
there's plenty of them over here. You know, it's I know if anyone's watching in the UK, and you start talking about country music and you start talking about country guitar players, it's almost a taboo in the UK, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Because you know, when I was back in the UK, people were still calling it country and western. And you're like, well, no, western's like the
different thing.
Stuff, you know?
Yeah,
that was great. But now we're into an era of like some of the hottest guitar players on the planet play country music, and you know, amazing guitarists.
Yeah, there's some the length and breadth of talent that you can find now, just that is instantly accessible, is scary.
Yeah,
And I think it
is,
actually
yeah. And
puts people off
especially-
from doing things like YouTube, because
Yeah, doesn't it? I know, because you go on Instagram or there's a guy in Chicago actually, Zeppelin. I'm going to get this wrong.
Zeppelin Banatra.
Zeppelin Banatra.
Mm.
And I've seen a couple of interviews with the guy, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Perhaps we'll just put it up there. But I see him on Instagram a lot, and this guy is just is next level. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's amazing.
I've seen Zeppelin Banatra's stuff on Instagram, and he is absolutely incredible. There's a great jazz guy called Sam Blakelock. He's an incredible player. There's a guy I went to uni with, actually, who's very, very good, and his name's Tom Gledhill. He's worth checking out. There's also, who else have we got? Roy Ziv, he's another one. He has a speed guitar course. Again, there's just so many fantastic players, and it's great to see them. Paul Davids as well. He does less of the kind of shred stuff, but more of the feel and just the overall. The guy's just an absolute monster when it comes to just raw, good guitar playing, you know? And the way he teaches it is incredible.
What resonates with me most as well, I think, rather than the fast stuff. Not because I can't play fast stuff. No, I can't.
It's the age-old. It's speed versus feel, right?
Feel of it. yeah, absolutely, and that's what resonates with me, and that's why one of the guys I like to watch. And there are so few videos, I think, where I watch it and I watch it all the way to the end, and I have to watch it all the way to the end. And one guy is Jamie Harrison. He's an Irish guy.
Yeah, I've seen his John Mayer courses come up a few times. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Hendrix, John Mayer, and when he plays, he's just I'm mesmerised. And so if I want to be like anybody, I want to play like Jamie Harrison. You know?
Yeah, he's awesome. I do like his stuff. I had a look at his. He had quite a big video with Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, John Mayer's version, but he had where the vocal lines were, he put all these beautiful melodies playing thirds and sixths and all that kind of stuff, and it sounds absolutely amazing. It's incredible. I really do like that Stevie Ray Vaughan, Hendrix, John Mayer-y kind of style. It's just, spot on.
Yeah, so anyone watching, just check out Jamie Harrison's
Yeah,
channel.
do.
He's like a master of looping as well. He'll loop in.
Haven't seen his looping. That's interesting.
Some of those layers off and go back. Wow, it's just absolutely incredible. And there are a couple of videos of him busking in, I think Dublin, must be Dublin, somewhere at one of the major cities in Ireland anyway. And he's the same. So his studio work is exactly the same as what he does on the street. He must have been playing forever, but he's just a master of the guitar. But as you said earlier, there are so many people out there.
Yeah, endless people. I'm a big fan of the. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I am a big fan of the faster players like John Petrucci, and I love Steve Vai. I think Steve Vai is incredible, and that's an area of my playing I'm actually working on at the moment. I'm just trying to. I feel like if you can do some of the complex metal stuff, I feel like it kind of makes other things easier because you've taken it to such an extreme that the other stuff feels more relaxed. That's just my personal opinion on it, but.
Well, that's a good tip. Yeah, that is a good tip. So that leads us on to quite a good question then. So, what tips would you give to other guitar players? Because that's fantastic.
Wow. So it depends where you are with your playing. If you're a beginner, I think the best piece of advice, or two pieces of advice I could give to you as a beginner. First of all, do not buy a cheap instrument. You don't have to spend thousands. You don't have to even spend £500. I know you're in the States, so you'd have to translate that into dollars. But if you were going to play electric guitar, let's say, for around £250, you can get a pretty decent Les Paul copy that'll stay in tune, that'll sound pretty good, and will last you 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. I mean, the chances of you getting another one if you get into your guitar are very, very high, and you'll get something better. But number one is don't buy a cheap instrument because it's an investment. And also, if you buy an instrument that's a little bit more expensive, you can probably sell it for around 70% of what you bought it for. So you haven't really wasted that much money anyway. And then the second one, of course, is to get a teacher, even if it's only for the first 3, 4 lessons, just to start you off in the right direction with your technique. They're my two big tips for beginner guitarists, definitely.
I think it's fantastic advice, yeah, because you can read and listen to so much advice on the internet, and I think one of the big things that resonated with me was that your advice is fantastic. You know, just get a decent instrument. Don't buy something that's going to fall apart, not stay in tune, and the action's so high you can't play it, etc. So get yourself something decent, but also just remember the gear doesn't matter. It's just how you play it. It's about the player.
It is.
But with a decent instrument that stays in
Yeah,
tune.
exactly. That's it. There are certain fundamental things, right, that need to be there. It needs to stay in tune, because you just, as soon as you hit the strings, it goes out of tune. Well, you kind of defeat the object. It's when it puzzles me when I walk around somewhere like Lidl, a supermarket, and they have like a ukulele for £5 or £10, and it's like,
yeah, that's similar to Walmart here.
That's accessible financially, but then when you get it home, the chances of you continuing with that are quite slim, because it's just not going to serve its purpose.
It's a false economy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Aaron, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you very much.
And anyone watching, check out Aaron's channel. I'm sure he would appreciate your subscription and appreciate you checking out his channel. He's a fantastic guitar player and a great teacher, and he's got some really good quality content out there. So,
thank you very much, Derek. It's been an absolute pleasure.